It made me cry.
This one's wife. The door stays shut. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As you are aware, this one's wife and the Prince of Pink Pancakes have been pushing the reconciliation agenda all through the summer. And there's an interesting twist that comes courtesy of, oh, quelle surprise, another supine publication. It's Cosmopolitan that tells us why this one's wife's pantyhose joke closed the door on reconciliation with the royal family. Let's have a look at what's being spun on this occasion and then consider what's truly occurring. In news that shouldn't be news, this one's wife made a joke about pantyhose, and apparently it has closed the door on any chance of reconciliation with the rest of the royal family. As a source for Radar Online explained, that one silly comment about pantyhose said more than she realised. It came across as mocking the traditions that defined the monarchy, the very same traditions she once tried to be part of. It's small, but it's telling. People inside the palace think it just reinforces that she doesn't respect what those roles mean. To give you some context, the joke in question was made during an appearance on the circuit with Emily Chang, which the Duchess of Sussex did to promote the Part 2 of Season 1 release of With Love, Meghan. When asked whether there was an inherent tension in trying to be relatable while also being a duchess, this one's wife recalled having to wear nude pantyhose all the time as a senior royal. Now, pausing there. First of all, the question is a legitimate one. Is there a tension between your attempts to be relatable when you have the title of Duchess? And of course, rather than recognise the inherent contradiction in such behaviour, because that would be viewed as a criticism of this one's wife, what does her narcissism cause her to do? Criticise the royal family by talking about the fact that I was made to wear nude pantyhose all the time. The report states, let's be honest, that was not very myself, she continued. I hadn't seen pantyhose since the 80s, when they came in the little egg. That felt a little bit inauthentic, but that's a silly example. Well, you're right about one thing, it's a silly example, and hilariously, that's what she deems as inauthentic when she fails to recognise that virtually everything that she does is inauthentic. Cosmopolitan continues by stating, totally innocuous, right? Apparently not in the eyes of the palace. According to the Radar Online source, there had been a fragile peace forming between this one's wife and her husband Prince Harry's family, especially since the king's health became a private concern. However, per the source, making jokes at the palace's expense is the kind of thing that makes reconciliation impossible. The insider continued, she's still laughing at the system while claiming she wants healing, and that's something future King William in particular finds hard to stomach. And how does King Charles feel about all of this? Another source close to the royal household claimed the king finds the situation wearying, added, Charles has tried to take a gentle, dignified approach with Harry and this one's wife, but when she keeps making digs like this, it chips away at any chance of rebuilding trust. It's not malicious, but it's thoughtless, and the royal family sees that as just as damaging. So the suggestion is this. The reason why reconciliation hasn't occurred isn't as a consequence of the fact that Harry and this one's wife have made repeated attacks upon the royal family. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they've made baseless allegations and poured them into the media. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they can't be trusted, whereby private conversations have been aired publicly. No. It's nothing to do with all of that. The reason why reconciliation hasn't occurred is because the royal family is so petty because this one's wife made a joke about pantyhose. Balderdash, I say. Utter tish and pish. This is another transparent attempt by this one's wife to portray herself as the victim and the royal family as the antagonists. That she suggests, I'm all up for reconciliation, and all I did was make an incy-wincy, teeny-weeny little joke about pantyhose, and look how they respond. They slam the door in my face. Well, Duchess of Delusion, you've got that wrong, because the door wasn't slammed in your face, it was already closed. Your activity in relation to making this joke about pantyhose hasn't caused the door to become closed. It was never going to open in the first place. It's been closed for quite some time because the other members of the royal family recognise what an unpleasant and untrustworthy individual you are. This is an obvious attempt by this one's wife to smear the royal family as petty. First of all, demonstrating her sense of entitlement and deluded thinking, she wants to portray herself as the Queen of Reconciliation, that she is the one that's willing to let bygones be bygones, that despite the fact that she's been so hard done to, she is prepared to bring out once again the olive branch of peace. And yet, it's not me that's causing the problem, it's them. They can't even take a joke. I make a little joke about having to wear nude pantyhose all the time, and look what happens. They get in a great big baby huff, throw their bejeweled rattle out of their pram, and slam the door shut in my face. This is a smear. It's done by this one's wife to maintain her own facade of being the decent person, while smearing the royal family to suggest that they are the petty ones that are halting the peace process. It's clear, and it's obvious, and it doesn't wash. Anybody with functioning brain cells understands that these problems have arisen as a consequence of the behaviours of this one's wife, and the appropriate response following expert advice is for the royal family to maintain the position of, we don't want anything to do with you. We haven't closed the door as a consequence of your pantyhose joke. It was never going to open in the first place. It wasn't open. It wasn't even ajar. The door has been firmly shut for some time. And as a consequence of the fact that this no-contact regime is absolutely winding this one's wife up because narcissists hate no contact, absolutely can't stand it, because it strikes to the narcissist's core. Remember, the narcissist believes that they're special, that they're unique, that the universe revolves around them, that they should only be involved with special people who understand them. Only the great and good are the people that should be with them. And if you do anything which suggests that they're not special, that they're not unique, that they're not marvellous, that they're not brilliant, i.e. you ignore them, this enrages the narcissist because it strikes at the very core of what is a problem for that narcissist. And with the royal family keeping that door closed, that keeps signalling to this one's wife, you do not matter. And those words are a death sentence to the narcissist. She is beating her bronzed hands against that door. Let me in, let me in, let me in, let me in. And there only comes silence. That silence makes her feel small, vulnerable, pathetic. It reinforces what she truly is, insignificant. But that does not sit with what the narcissism tells her what she is. It repeatedly tells her that she's mesmerizing, beautiful, irresistible, talented, fascinating, intelligent, etc. And thus, when anybody suggests to the contrary, that is a massive threat to control. And so the response from this one's wife is to enlist the likes of Cosmopolitan to smear the royal family by suggesting that they are petty. Once again, by understanding the narcissism of this one's wife and the narcissistic dynamic in action, you fully understand why she does what she does. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.